Go.
Sponsored by Andrea Mason, Press Play, Plan Life According to You, LLC. Take care of your mental health. Find inner peace by rediscovering and loving you for who you truly are. Take advantage of this exclusive offer and choose to press play today. Thank you.
Everywhere I go, I see his face. I just really miss him.
Let's get ready. Oh my goodness, it is Friday, guys. If you are new to the channel, make sure you like, share, and most importantly, subscribe to all our platforms, man. Just name a few: Facebook, X, Instagram, LinkedIn, Tumblr, Threads, all that. As you can see, little bell is in the air. All right, go sit down. All right, sit down. All right, thank you, Princess. All right, guys. All right. It is Friday, baby. Yes. Of course, if you can tell, she's here. So it's summertime. More importantly, guys, it's time to just relax, rejuvenate, and it's going to be a good day. All right, guys. But first, we want to get the ones that pay the bills. First and foremost, I am very energized. I am ready to go. And I got to say that due to our lovely Dubby. That's right, guys. You can go to dubby.gg and get you some of that awesome genderless energy. I have that beach and peach in my system right now. Woo-wee. I'll tell y'all now, right, guys? It's insane to say that this does not have any artificial sweeteners or anything like that. It tastes unreal. All these flavors have been very good. Gives you a good start. If you're sensitive to caffeine, stuff like that, definitely recommend these. And if you don't have an idea of what flavor to get, you can get a sample with a bottle and 3 flavors of your choosing. You got hats, bumper stickers, all that. Type in the promo code BUZZ20 with the capital B and get 10% off of your purchase. Shout out to Dubby, giving that genderless energy. Yeah, boy. All right, guys. As you know, we've been having fun this week. Shout out to our sponsor, Andrea Mason, doing the wonders that she's done. If you haven't, go to her Spotify account and listen to the recent episode that I did with her. I think it was the beginning of last year's summer. Obviously, we found out news about with my son, stuff like that. So I really was focused that whole summer just spending time with him, letting him have a lot of memories, because sadly we will not have my son this summer just due to the physical therapy, his back infusion, stuff like that. So it's a bittersweet moment. I mean, it's been tough, and I look so forward to the summertime just because not only I have him, I have both my kids together. My daughter hasn't seen her brother in a while, and it drives her nuts. It's just a big, crazy madness thing in the house. But right now, for sure right now, we know Matthew will not be able to be home just due to health and stuff like that, and it's because of the recovery process. He's still starting. I think he starts his PT next week. Shout out to his school making the awesome graduation video. I greatly appreciate it. To get to witness and knowing that my son wasn't in the 5th grade super long, to see him receive the sportsmanship award was really, really humbling for me. Seeing his teachers tear up talking about he makes them appreciate and want to do better each and every day. That hit an emotional strain with me, because something I want to teach my kids, man. It's like the biggest thing to do is just be nice, treat people the best you can, and seeing the stuff that my son goes through, and for him to just treat everyone with respect, everyone nicely. It's just a really cool thing. And then Matthew getting the reward for something with the book, something with the library was really awesome. My son got to receive 2 awards, which was really cool that he even got to accept these awards, because, like I said, he's only been in the school for like 3 months, and 5th grade for only like 3 months. So he didn't really have a lot of stats to really show up and be like, hey, I did this, I did this. Like, my son was in and out of a hospital that whole school year, sadly. So it was just really cool to get to see, not only get to see a video of him excited, he was super excited about accepting his sportsmanship award. It was really cool to see that. And I got a little emotional, I'm not even gonna lie, just because I've never got to see my son walk a stage and accept an award. So it was really cool to get to see it, even though it was on video and not in person, but still, just to get to see it was really awesome. Shout out to his school doing everything that they've been doing, coming to their house to give Matthew homeschool. Teachers were doing it on their free time, which was truly, I want to appreciate them and say thank you. I know his mom appreciates it. I know my wife appreciates it. Like, we all as a team, when it comes to Matthew's education, his well-being, and his health, we greatly appreciate it. All right, guys, now I wanted to get the sappiness out. I know a lot of people were asking info about it, but guys, we have a very awesome episode today. We've been talking about autism for a while. I've got a great guest, and the main goal is for him to destigmatize autism. And I am talking about Kadin McElwain. But before we get to the chatting with Kadin McElwain, we have got to talk about our merch. That's right, guys. Bonfire/Buzzing with Marlowe. You can go in there and get you some awesome t-shirts, awesome hats, awesome tank tops, awesome razorbacks. I mean, long sleeves, hoodies, pom-pom beanies, like you name it, they got it. And of course, guys, you can go to our link tree if you want to get shorts and stuff like that. We also have our lovely links as well. When we got to those, you can go in there and get that. But right here, I know people have been asking. We got the American Prodigy merch line waiting for everyone to just click in there and put it into your cart. If you feel like you have always had a little struggle and every setback makes one heck of a comeback, a lot of people have been really impressed with that motto. A lot of people actually have recently just ordered that one particular shirt, so I want to thank a lot of y'all for that. This was actually number 2 in the top purchases of the Bonfire Shop right now, so I want to greatly appreciate everyone with that. The one good perk out of it is you get the Morphin into Season 5 on the back. It's no extra charge. And of course, if you get every setback makes one heck of a comeback, you do get that one good logo. It's clear as day, everything. It wasn't super extra expensive. Obviously, we got the Morphin into Season 5. Always preparing to let everybody know it is going to be the most expensive shirt due to the ink on it and the coloring and stuff like that. It's kind of weird how when we put it on the back, it didn't cost anything extra, but putting it on the front of the shirt, it did cost a little bit more due to the coloring and just how they wanted to get that bold look. So definitely look into that one. It is a little pricier, but it's still a great quality shirt. Great. It doesn't like wash away or anything. The colors are very clear. The logo looks amazing. Of course, guys, we have our hats. Number one merch. The number one merch on the shop. You can get you a trucker cap. You can get you a dad hat. You can get the original hat. You can get you a bucket hat. You can get you a pom-pom beanies. All that, man. Buzzing with Marlowe merch. And, of course, you got the typical basic, the original, the OG logo itself with the two hands breaking apart, breaking them chains to unleash your organic mind. Go to bonfire/Buzzing with Marlowe, type in the promo code BUZZ20 with a capital B, and you will get 12% off of your purchase. This is the last week we were doing 12% off, then it goes right back to 10% next week. All right, guys. We've milked it enough. I want to thank my guys, the commission, my boy Brian B from the 1130. From the Beeline Entertainment LLC, and my boy Dre on Wheels from the 1130 podcast. We are the commission, and we did go a little early this Wednesday. It was super fun, though. Obviously, great chat with them boys. And of course, I've got my After Dark on Mondays with Blackheart. We are back. It depends on based off of the finals right now, because Boston, shout out to Boston, shout out to Dallas Mavericks. What? We got Kyrie versus Boston in the finals. I am hyped about it, guys. I am super hyped about this one. And more importantly, I'm a big Luka fan, so seeing Luka and Kyrie pull this off and go to play against Boston is going to be insane. But sadly, we are going to have to look at what those schedules look like, because Blackheart does work in the TD Gardens. So it's going to be based off of how the finals goes and stuff like that. If it's like an away game, I think he is not super busy as what it is, but we'll find out more. I want to apologize about After Dark not being this week. It's just because it's due to a work schedule standpoint. It's either Blackheart's schedule going to be a little backed up or mine, but we are going to give you an After Dark every week. Last week of wrestling is on break now. The OTTR network is fully on break. So, the last week of wrestling, the Wrestling Asylum, and Blackheart's Angels, they are all on breaks right now. So shout out to the mob. Shout out to them having me and making me a real cool honorary oos. I think that's what I like to call it. I'm an honorary oos of the mob. Uncle Fat says I'm like second in the general line just because I come when I want, I guess. I mean, it's based off my work schedule, but it's a funny thing. Shout out to all of them, especially Uncle Fats and guys like that. I'm actually going to have them, some of them one-on-one. We're going to have them on the Buzzing with Marlowe later down the road. But guys, I know a lot of people have been requesting it. We are going to have my wife back on in 2 weeks live. That's right, guys. That's breaking news. We also going to be playing flag football again. Yeah, I'm going to be playing this weekend at the Flex Field at the Jaguar Stadium. I'm excited. Wild boys, we back. We about to go. It's about to have some fun this week, man. I'm excited. I've been in cardio mode for a while right now just because of my particular match that I got coming up July 13th at Newton, Georgia for AWARE. I'm looking forward to having my debut there. And more importantly, I'm looking forward to facing a guy I've never faced before, Xander Maddox, hell of a talent, and I'm looking forward to the challenge. But I see the comments that he's been putting on social media, quoting Marvel, quoting Avengers and all that. he keeps bringing them jokes, he better be bringing he better be backing up what he's talking, because I'm not a pushover, and he about to find out. But guys, I think I've rambled off enough. Guys, when the countdown goes 30 to 1, we will be joined with our lovely guest, Kadin McElwain. Guys, this is going to be an inspiration story, because this guy right now, when you look at someone that is on the autism spectrum, you think they're not good in hobbies. You think they're not smart, book smart in school. You think they need help in so many different environments. And more importantly, you feel like they've got to be the profile of what you think. I'm informing you now. My guest today is one of the smartest individuals. When I first chatted with him, he was upset that summertime's coming to where school's out. He loves school. Kaden is currently in college right now. Kaden is one of the top in his class. And more importantly, Kaden was diagnosed with autism. We will talk more about this when the countdown goes 30 to 1 and we come back from our commercial break. We will be joined with Kadin McElwain. And guys, that countdown starts in 3, 2.
That's it, buddy. You're out of here.
Have you always aspired to be a professional wrestler? Do you think you have what it takes to step through these ropes and take your place among the immortals? Well, now you have an opportunity. Join us at the DCCW training facility at Harvest Ministries in McClenny, Florida. There you will be put to the test and challenged like you have never been challenged before. If you think you have what it takes, prove it to the world, but most importantly,
guys, we are back. And I am joined with Kadin McElwain. How you doing, man?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for having me, Warren. And by the way, I definitely got to check out that wrestling gym they talked about in the commercials before if I'm ever in Florida.
Yeah, man, definitely. Shout out to Steve and Vanessa Pinder and DCCW, my homegrown promotion that I work for and stuff like that. So definitely shout out to them. But Kaden, man, how are you doing, man? I've seen your story and stuff that we have talked about, obviously off of social media and how this has been set up. But I love the story that you have brought and the biggest approach that you really want to do. But, man, before we get into that, tell us a little bit about yourself, man. Obviously, I know you currently are almost getting ready for summertime. College is finally, all that craziness is about to just kind of like brush off a little bit. Summertime coming up. So you pretty excited about it?
Not really. So I'm a guy who thinks there should be school 24/7, no summer, no breaks whatsoever. But unfortunately, there's a law there, and if that law were to be cut off, my generation, the TikTok generation, would probably whine, complain, and moan and groan. But a little bit about myself.
Video,
as
right?
you said, as you said, I'm an autistic college student, writer, and activist. I'm on a mission to raise as much awareness about autism as possible to hopefully get some legislation passed in the White House or Congress, the House of Representatives. Throughout my life, I was treated horribly by society, and there were doubts about my capabilities to live in society because I've had autism. But thanks to my parents and a very big work ethic, I was able to prove those naysayers wrong. My advocacy work began with a class project I did in 2022 for my freshman year of college. The assignment was to think of a way to help the community and act upon it. So this was a group project. My group and I set up a GoFundMe for Autism Society of America, and we raised over $1,000 for that organization and won a contest with that, our project. But I saw, as typical with the TikTok generation, my group only wanted to do the assignment to get the grade and the prize money we got for winning the contest. So I thought, based on that, and autism not really being in the same limelight as, say, LGBTQ rights or women's empowerment, I thought, if no one else is going to bring attention to this cause, I might as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I think that's absolutely beautiful. And obviously, me being a father of a son that is on the autism spectrum. So when were you diagnosed with autism? My son was diagnosed at, I think, 3. For sure was 3 years old. They really put him on. They diagnosed him completely on the spectrum. He had over. It's so crazy, like when you count how many different ways it is to get onto the spectrum of autism. My son was over 200. So, like, he was already on that checklist right off the rip. So, like, what age were you diagnosed with autism?
1 year younger, actually. 2 years old. Coincidentally, after getting the smallpox vaccination. Of course, that wasn't because of it. It was obviously genetics. But I always find that funny because that conspiracy is going around always, especially nowadays, given the COVID vaccinations and stuff and everything else. But I consider myself and your son to be lucky because we had that early screening. And I'm 19 now. And if we didn't have that early screening, who knows where people like him and me would be.
Yeah, man. And I love that how you're talking about that. I refused it for a long time just because I didn't understand what really autism was. I didn't really consider it as a disease. I just didn't understand how people saw them as a differential human being than the next person. You know what I mean? So, like, it was tough to deal with that scenario because obviously I never had gone through any of that in my childhood. His mom, I don't think ever had any of that in her childhood. But I do remember us being in and out of the hospital with him and getting diagnosed with everything come to man. Luckily, I think he was like 6 or 7. Luckily, he went into the hospital. The biggest worry was if he had a hole in his heart. and finally found out he's good with that, everything health-wise scenario with that. So has there been anything else that you have had to deal with other than, just being put onto the autism spectrum? Like you just said, you were at it at 2. Was there a lot of things that was hard for you? Because my son, he couldn't walk until he was like age of 6, like literally fully walking. Like my son has scoliosis and stuff like that. Like, is there any other things that also you had to deal with along with being autistic?
Well, in the sense of autism, I was nonverbal until 6 years old.
Right.
And as I said, elementary school, it was fine. I had special education classes. I had an IEP, so I was susceptible to bullying, obviously, as I'm sure most school students are. But luckily for me, elementary school was a breeze. I was popular. People treated me with respect. And I think it was because the teacher told everyone in the class that I was on the spectrum, looking back at it. And I think it's a responsibility of all teachers to say, hey, look, exactly. It's on the teachers of the school to say, look, such and such student is on the spectrum. He has Down syndrome. He has ADHD, or X, Y, and Z thing. Please treat him like you would everyone else. They just want a friend. They may be different, but they're all the same. But middle school and high school, that was a nightmare of bullying and teasing and ableism. But to be fair, that's typical of anyone in high school. I've heard horror stories about that, and trust me, I've had a bunch.
That scares me, man, because like I said, man, my son just got into 5th grade. Like, he just had 5th grade. Well, technically, he was in a hospital for 60 days, and he's been in and out this year. So he's really only got to spend 3 months in 5th grade. But you saying what you've went through in middle school and stuff like that, and obviously me being so far away from my kid, he's understanding so much more now, to where his comprehension's gotten better. So I like how you were just talking about, kids were already prepared of knowing that you were a little different than everyone else, and they treated you with respect. And I totally agree with you. Teachers should prepare the kids to let them know, hey, this person right here, be nice to him. He might talk a little different. He might give you a little bit of focus. He might even be a little bit happier than usual. He's just appreciative. He's happy to be around. Obviously, hearing that, man, that just like helps me rejuvenate a little bit. But like, obviously, knowing my son's about to go into middle school, and it terrifies me because, like you just said, with autism and stuff like that, kids can be some evil people. And sometimes they don't mean to, but they just do it to do it. And I think that's been my biggest fear, growing up to be a dad, not having my son full time, is like I have to deal with those type of fears each and every day. And how was that for you in middle school and stuff like that? How are you able to, withstand it, comprehend it, and develop from it?
I think the bullying, as it typically does with most people, really lowered my self-esteem. And during that time in middle school and high school, I had a hard time embracing myself and my gifts for who I was. And a quick thing, in middle school, quite frankly, I was also bullied by the teacher. So the school actually cut off my IEP services completely without parental consent, keep in mind. And when my parents asked why they did that, the school said, we can't tell he's on the spectrum. Sorry, he's doing well academically, doing well socially and behaviorally. Put him in a robotics program. And I love my parents for this. They wrote to every single autism organization in Tennessee and a state senator addressing the matter because they knew I needed those IEP services to thrive. And I learned recently that that kind of thing is actually illegal, cutting off IEP services. So I might actually look into filing a suit against the middle school for that. I mean, I don't know the statute of limitations on that, but he digress. I think middle school and high school teachers and students are quite frankly ill prepared to handle people with autism and special needs, especially today, because that kind of thing is hung by a thread 24/7, susceptible to budget cuts, ridicule, abusive staff. Just recently, I talked to the superintendent of the Littleton School District in Colorado that had an incident where a teacher aide bashed a nonverbal student on the head, and I told him, "Look, be better. Look into your hiring practices." And he was nice. We were on the same page. But the fact that those kinds of things are allowed to happen is ridiculous. And I feel what you're saying. And I'm not even a dad yet. I'm 19 years old. But when I have kids, I don't know if I even want to put them in public school because I can't trust that they're going to be treated fairly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did you ever have, so obviously with my son, when he was a baby, I mean, just brand new, newborn, everything, my kid didn't like being touched. Like, we couldn't hold him and stuff. Like, he literally would get mad if you held him. Did you ever have that problem where you were just like, you just wanted to be your own? You didn't really want people to touch you and stuff like that? My son's just now slowly adapting to where, hey, hugs are okay, hold your hand, all that stuff. Like, did you ever have trouble with that?
With affection? No. A big thing for me is I despise headphones and I despise peanut butter and nut products. Maybe it's because of the texture sensitivities.
Right.
I'll have to ask about and look into that. But I will say, in the past, for the longest time, I despised haircuts. They had to use a special blade because of the sensitivity.
I've heard that before. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, then you know what I'm talking about. But as I got
older, how'd you overcome that?
I just grew out of it. Quite frankly, I actually got a haircut a couple weeks ago because I was looking saggy.
I like that. I love how you talk about that because my son, obviously how we really knew how he was on the autism spectrum. Have you ever noticed when you get super excited, do you just like kick your legs up and just in a happy dance type scenario? Your hands and feet are up in the air and you just kicking away. Like my son's been doing that since he was 12 months old. Like he literally, that's something that he still does to this day. And that's something now we know he's excited, he's enjoying himself. Has there ever been something that you've took as a trait wise where it's like that is your thing? Like I said, he'll have his hands up and just kicks his legs up, and he's in the happiest mood ever. Like he's smiling. It's in his magical place that literally he cannot be tarnished. It can't hurt him. His day is perfect just if he does that. Is there something like that has ever happened for you?
Like a routine, you mean?
Yeah. Like I said, my son, he likes when he gets super excited and he's like so overwhelmed and he literally will just sitting wherever he's sitting, he'll just kick his legs up. And I mean, super quick, do, hands up in the air, just sitting there licking his lip and he's smiling like he's in a good mood. Is there anything like you ever had to do?
No, not any actions like that, but I do have some things I like and have fascinations with music, politics, and the academics are the big three mainly that gets me go. Oh, and that are some of my favorite things. Those are more of a hobby. And recently, the gym has been exciting me. I've been trying to get in shape because I'm not going to have the metabolism I have for long. No, I'm 19 now. As I get older, I'm most likely going to get out of shape. So I got to plan ahead for that. But that's been getting me going, and rightfully so. Oh, it's been improving my mental health, improving my sleep, improving my physical fitness. And quite frankly, I should have done that ages ago.
Mm-hmm. So what was better, your middle school year or your high school year? Because obviously I can see the picture. You do like cross country or track. Like, were you always doing something like that?
Yeah, I was in cross country in high school. We actually won 2 state championships during my time there. I wasn't on the team, but that still happened and was still extremely awesome to be a
It was
part
a good
of that
achievement still,
history in
yes.
some form. But I would say high school was better. It really was. Yeah, there was some minor teasing, but as I said, that's typical in high school. But the only major thing that happened was my cross country team spreading a rumor around saying that I was faking my autism because they were jealous of a newspaper article that was wrote about me inspiring the team.
About you being autistic and something like
Yeah.
kind of like. Did that bother you at first when you were into this newspaper because they kind of like treated you like you were like some type of special mascot or something like that? Or did it make you to go, hey man, people are appreciating me? And that's something that motivates you and be like, hey, I belong. I belong. Like I've noticed this with a lot of kids on the autism spectrum and parents too. I mean, I've had people on the show and they've talked about it countless times. I've had plenty of friends, and I've made a heck of an amount of friends off of just this podcast stuff. But I've met people that have cerebral palsy. Had 2 of my good friends out here. Shout out to Tino. He does live watch-alongs, and he had a comfort where he had issues where he couldn't come on and be in person because he talks about like when he's on camera, he's like everybody else, but when you see him in person, he's obviously shorter because he's in a wheelchair. His hands are not moving the same way as somebody. I have a good friend named David. David had made an awareness for Cerebral Palsy Day at his college university at UNF. I'm in UCF. It was UCF? Yeah, UCF for university in Orlando. And he made it to where they celebrate National Cerebral Palsy Month. Day, month, and stuff like that. He's really trying to be an advocate for cerebral palsy and giving an awareness and let people know. Like, it's such a beautiful thing where people just assume somebody's damaged or something wrong with them just because you're on the autism spectrum. And I have such a different perspective than I've ever thought of anything, especially going through what I've went through with my son, because I'm sure you've done it, your countless tutoring where you've had to learn how to have speech therapy, where you've had to learn how to do physical therapy and stuff like that. You've had to, and I know it had to bother you in one of those perspectives because it's like, hey, why am I not picking things up as fast as the next person? And I always told my son, because he was just one happy kid. And, you know, with the COVID thing and everything going on, my son didn't understand what was really happening in the world. We just called it a flu. And he just called it a flu. He's like, well, tell him to get the shot and we're good. Like, you know, the flu shot scenario, not the COVID vaccine, but he was like, talk about just get a flu shot and everybody's good. Like, that's all my son learned is medicine cures him. And like, my son believed for the longest time, he believed that he needed to take medicine for him to walk. He's like, Dad, I'm just sick. I need to take medicine. I can walk like you, walk like this person. And it hurts sometimes when kids, you can't explain it. You can't tell them that. But literally my son looks at it, and just recently, last time I talked to him was on his birthday, and we were just talking, and he just like, he came out and told me, he's like, Dad, I just hope I'm strong like you when I get older. And I'm just sitting there just speechless on it because I'm like, I wish I was strong as him, because the stuff that he has endured with being in and out of the hospital, having scoliosis and having spinal infusion surgery at less than 12 years old, I couldn't deal with the fathom of the pain and stuff that he does and deals with. So I can only imagine what you've went through in your middle school and your high school years. And I love how you talk about the gym. My son can't really work out or anything like that, but that was our thing. We would go to the gym late at night. He would just go there just to go there with me. And it was like our time together. So obviously it's just a beautiful thing to see the growth and what things can do to make you in that happiness. So you just said you were against headphones and stuff for a while. Are you still in that routine?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, my parents slip peanut butter and stuff I hate into food sometimes, and I taste then say, "Oh, this is great," and they're like, "It's peanut butter," and I'm like, "What?" And they're like,
are you a big chicken nuggets guy? Are you a big chicken nuggets fan? My son lives off of that, bro.
No. I've been trying to eat better too recently, so I've been lessening my meat intake recently.
Okay.
I might have a little bit of meat every now and again, but it's been mainly a cup of coffee for breakfast, salad or something for lunch, and a big meal at dinner with an occasional snack.
Okay. So how was that? How hard was that to change your eating routines? Like I said, man, my son is. I don't joke about this. I see the commercials when they talk about kids with autism. You stocking up on chicken nuggets. Like, that is not a joke. My son eats, sleeps, and lives off of chicken nuggets for lunch. We just got him, which I wish Firehouse would be cheaper, but we got him on Philly cheesesteaks. And he is obsessed, like heavily obsessed, like he was with chicken nuggets with Firehouse Philly cheesesteaks. And that's actually helped put weight on him. And obviously, a lot of people don't realize with some autistic kids, like some kids, they just really skinny. They're really lean. They eat more than the average bear, but they're just really skinny. And my son finally has been putting on weight now because he's eating so much, cheesesteaks and stuff like that. So, like, how was that transition for your eating plans and stuff like that? Because I know people don't realize this with autism kids, with kids on the autistic spectrum or whatever. They don't like change. They like stuff in set routines and it stay that way. Like, how is that transition for you on the eating standpoint?
I would say I'm open to anything. I'm actually a very adventurous guy. If we have to change minor things, I'm like, okay, cool, that's good. The only thing that I despised was moving from state to state. I had my routine, I had my life there, so I didn't really want to change anything bad, but I eventually got over it because there are bigger fish to fry than move. And the diet thing, that was actually willingly, because I noticed that I was packing on some pounds a couple weeks ago, and I thought, okay, my metabolism is slowing. I got to fast. I got to do all this. So I got to do this, that, and the other. But then I learned that there was a better way, and that was to simply change my diet. So,
is there a certain role model in your life that motivates you? Like, obviously, if anybody knows me, I idolize this guy right here, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I love the morals that this man brings. I love everything that this man approaches. The fatherhood standpoint. I mean, just the morals that this man talks about is, sometimes you just got to get your hands dirty. You got to lift the weight up. You got to do the work. Is there anybody that has motivated you and that you ever considered as like your number one hero?
I would say my parents. They've been in my corner all the time since day one. They are still in my corner to this day. And they've really implemented the values of hard work and not being whiny and entitled like most Gen Zers are. So I think I have them to thank for a lot of my personality. And as I said, I'm one of the lucky ones. I had the luxury of early screening, and I'm on the higher end of the spectrum as most people with autism. So
you speak very well for a kid that's on the autism spectrum, especially at 19. Like I've met a couple of them that literally sound like they're still like 13 or 14. So like I could tell like you have very much adapted to what you used to, or whatever you used to be, or whatever. Like, man, you more educated. I mean, dude, you're in freaking college, dude. That is a big, big achievement. And that's always my biggest worry with my son is if we do put him in college and stuff, is people going to see him differently? But I've looked at so many different universities and stuff now, like they have so much to give and value for kids with the autism spectrum, with any type of disabilities and stuff like that. Like, did that comfort you going out of high school and going into college? Or is there still like, what was your biggest fears going into college?
My biggest fear was Ames going into college. But after freshman year, I learned to love it. I made my own identity. Didn't need anyone breathing down my neck. I could focus on school. Well, no need for bullying. I have a couple of friends. And I'm on my way right now to earn my 4th consecutive dean's list in a row. Currently, I'm passing my finals right now. The rest of those grades aren't out yet, but they should be out by next Tuesday, possibly. I'll have to verify that. But as I said, if it wasn't for that early screening and my parents and all the treatments I received over the years, but occupational therapy, physical therapy, ABA, all this stuff, I probably wouldn't be in college right now. Oh, so that's why I consider myself lucky, because I had an amazing group of parents and all these tools. My cousin, who's also on the spectrum, but lower end than me, he unfortunately wasn't so lucky. His mom treated him like absolute garbage, kicked him to the curb, said, "Good luck, go out in the world, whatever, we don't care about you." And now he's legally changed his name to 420 Jake, and we all know what 420 is, so he can kiss jobs and housing applications goodbye. He has a baby that was taken away because of an abusive wife. He has an animal cruelty charge, and he's on the run from police in Alabama because you're not supposed to leave the state if you have pending charges.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, that's and a lot of people don't realize what the damage they do to these kids, and y'all take it more serious at times when y'all realize it's a poke and phone thing. Like my son, he's now just starting to realize, like, he knows when kids are being nice to him, and then he knows the ones that are not being nice. And it's scary at the same time because, like you just said, man, you went through bullying and stuff like that in your middle school and high school years. And so obviously you being an advocate for on the autism spectrum and stuff like that, what would you tell some kids that go through these things each and every day that are on the autism spectrum? We're going to talk about the ones that are on the autism spectrum first, and then we'll talk about the ones that need to know the awareness and pay close attention and like really step in someone else's shoes to realize what they go through each and every day. What was some of the things that you would tell a kid that went through that are probably going through the same stuff and the same struggles that you had at that younger time?
I would say it doesn't last forever. Use that as motivation to prove who's ever doubting you wrong. And if people keep bullying you and treating you like garbage, don't give them the time of day. Cut them off. Because they're the ones that are going to be missing out on an amazing person or coworker or boyfriend or girlfriend. Because you are amazing.
Hey, I like that, man. So obviously, like I just said, we're going to reverse roles. What would you tell the ones that don't know what autism is, or they think it's some kind of disease and stuff like that? What is some things that you would help them realize? Hey, man, you need to take a step back and realize what really we go through, what really goes through a day-to-day life of a kid that is on the autism spectrum and stuff like that. It's not a disease. It's just the fact that you're a lot more special. And more importantly, you have more of a better focus. Like your educational level is so much more adapted on something that you're focused on, that you love. Obviously, I know there's a lot of autism kids that lack on one or two things because they just don't care for it. My son, he absolutely, we're hoping it changes soon. He hates math. He hates anything regarding
I'm the same way. Math is my kryptonite. pretty much. I'll actually be taking a class called Math Concepts next fall. So I'm hoping that's just, you say, where would you use such and such math subject and not performing actual math? I'll have to verify, but that's going to be painful. But I would say to most people, I would encourage you to go learn about autism, because there's a lot of people who have done great things while being on the autism spectrum. Dan Aykroyd, Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Tim Burton. I believe from looking at his behavior, Abe Lincoln might have been on the spectrum. Friedrich Nietzsche, one of my favorite philosophers. All these people have done amazing things while still being on the autism spectrum and proving their naysayers wrong. So I would say go out and learn and spread kindness in the world. And to the schools and workplaces, I would encourage them to mandate special education training for all students, parents, and teachers before they're allowed in the building. Parents especially, because it's my belief that everything starts at the home. If the parents are negative and they think Andrew Tate is a god, and they listen to Alex Jones or Ben Shapiro 24/7, then the child's going to go out and do the same thing and treat people like garbage.
I like it, man. I like it. So obviously, like I told you before, my friend David, he was adamantly trying to make a change for people with cerebral palsy and making an acknowledgement and stuff like that. What are some of the things that you do at your university to make a focus and make it realize, hey, man, we don't get enough respect. Like, we need more in-depth visual. We need more in-depth awareness and understanding of what truly autism is, and show people that autism is not a disease. I'll say it again, is not a disease. What are some of the things that you would do to make changes in that one particular university that you are in?
Well, I think Kent State has done well with my accommodations. I get testing accommodations, but the problem I have is you have to jump through hoops to get it by providing proof of diagnosis, proof of X, Y, and Z thing. So I would say, don't make a bunch of hoops for people like me to jump through. Just say, state if whatever you're going through, and if you want, say, a room to yourself, you get it. If you want testing accommodations, why not? I shouldn't have to prove that I'm on the spectrum. You should be able to tell by my mannerisms and my personality, quite frankly. Just a couple of years ago, my older sister, who's not on the spectrum, she was going through bullying and she requested a different room. My family had to come up with a doctor's note and excuse to get her that. So how about this instead? How about she has the disease of she doesn't want to be bullied, with symptoms including being bullied, being called names, psychological abuse, and lots of suicide. I would urge all universities, quite frankly, to not make those hoops anymore. Now, to be fair, they probably have to, because if they didn't, then anyone could.
Just make that drives me nuts that people would actually fake having, being on the autism spectrum and stuff like that. And it's sad because I say it all the time, man. 2 wrongs make it wrong for everybody, make it bad for everyone. And it's sad, we tried to make a change. And I've seen this in perspectives in so many ways. And I see it in a lot of different ways with differential things. Like, obviously, yes, Autism Awareness Month is the month of April. But what happens after April? Are you still making that awareness? Are you still, making that focus, to help that next person that that is going through these certain things and stuff like that? Are you here to help that child that is, like you just said, you got to jump through so much hoops just to prove that you are on the autism spectrum? Like, that's the part that drives me nuts, is like, and I went through that with my son at the same time, because my son, teachers have personally, I've had to take him to a couple of places here because, like I said, he lives 8 hours away. He lives with his mom. I get him after his school time in the summertime and stuff. I get him like 5 times out of a year. And the thing that I have noticed with my son is if I take him to like a special camp or stuff like that, we got to go take these special tests just to prove that, hey, he's on the autism spectrum. Like we just said, he was diagnosed at 3 years old. What else do I need to prove to you that he is on this? Like, that's the part I don't understand. If you went to a doctor and you have had a proven fact that you are on this spectrum, you should never be questioned ever again. They should be on that thing where it's like, all right, this kid has clearly been through this already. Why are we putting him through this same exact test every single time? Because sometimes it could be different. Because sometimes it could be the fact that you have improved on a different question or something like that because you've been asked it plenty of times. So obviously you're going to be aware to know which one is the answer. Something I've learned with kids that are on the spectrum is their memory is exceptional. When I say exceptional, you don't forget a thing. My son, when he is in an area, his biggest thing is fans. And my son literally is like a brain hits him, like a flash, like a time machine hits him. If he sees a fan, that's the first thing he does when he walks in the room. If he sees a fan, obviously it's got to be on. We're not allowed to have no fans on off. That's a big rule in his household. Like he's like, fans always have to be on around him. And luckily, I love my wife, her family and stuff. When she decided to, want to be with me and become, in process of being his stepmom, learning that we had to make a lot of different sacrifices at times to comfort him because the house was very cold at times because my son had to have fans on at all times. He would walk in a room, see this fan spin. He could tell you the year of it. He could tell you how many times it spin total altogether. He could tell you if he was there before, what happened when he was there. He can even tell you when something happened when he was a baby. Like, it's so exceptionally super cool. Like I even said, my son hates math, but I've told his teachers countless times, if you put numbers on his fidget spinner, like when they came out with fidget spinners, that was the best thing in the world. My son has more fidget spinners than kids that are collecting Hot Wheel cars. Like, I'm not joking about these things. Like, my son, anything that's considered a fan, a light up, or it talks or whatever, that always got his attention. And I always told his teachers, I said, if you put numbers on that fidget spinner, watch his math numbers increase. Watch his academic level increase. Like, there's certain things that my son would clearly focus on, and he was exceptional in. So obviously, you saying math has been your weakest suit at the same time. What was your strongest suit? Was it reading, science? Which one was it?
Every other subject. Like I said, I'm thriving academically right now. A's and
Is that why they question? Is that why they question you about your autism stuff? Because you are achieving so much academically, and that's not.
I didn't even think of that. Exactly. There's that stigma there that in order to be on the autism spectrum, you have to be nonverbal, can't walk, can't talk, failing at every subject, yet not being able to take care of yourself, and you are practically forced to be thrown in a spaghetti noodle factory making macaroni necklaces, which is an inside joke in my family. We joke about that constantly. But that's ridiculous because they've seen all these historical figures do amazing things. Dan Aykroyd wrote Coneheads, one of the greatest scripts of all time. Elon Musk hosted SNL, founded Twitter. I think he just made a chip that helps people with disabilities control computers now. So he's revolutionizing technology while having autism. And don't even get me started on Medicaid. That's a huge one where you got to prove X, Y, and Z thing, and they make you jump through so many.
I go through that so much.
Yeah,
Trust
you know
me.
what I
I know the struggles with that one, man. It's somewhat laughable, and like I said before, man, I see it in both perspectives. But the writing's on the wall. Like I said, we've been diagnosed. He was diagnosed at 3. You were diagnosed at 2. Nobody should be questioning you anymore because you've already done the research. You've already done the fact that, hey, he has clearly on the spectrum. He's marked out XYZ on all these things. So, Kaden, I do want to know, obviously, your passion for cross country and stuff, and I can see the picture and stuff like that, man. And I've seen so many kids that have been on the autism spectrum excel in sports. What is one of the things that is so like a release for you when you like for you to be considered a college athlete and on the autism spectrum? What does that mean for you?
No. I don't do cross anymore. I haven't found the time to. School's been crazy, and I have a model, which is I think is also part of the autism. Number one focus should always be academics, no exception. Since whenever friends insist I hang out with them, I say, nope, gotta study. Sorry, no exceptions. Of course, they whine and complain about it, but tough luck.
You're on the dean's list. That's all that matters, right?
Yeah, exactly. There's one thing that determines my success, and that's a college degree, so I can function as a human being in the United States of America. But I would say the fact that I was diagnosed when I was 2 years old, and I've been able to do so much is amazing to me. It really is. I'm still learning about myself every day on this journey of adulthood. But I'm hoping one day that we don't have to jump through hoops to get what we need anymore. And about going back to the Medicaid thing, I actually thought of recording a video of myself acting crazy, and acting nonverbal, doing all this stuff to get that Medicaid. And as I said, I'm higher end, keep in mind. But the problem is, they could probably check to see which level of the spectrum I'm on. And if they see me faking it, then that's called fraud, and I'll get arrested.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you basically have to succumb to make them believe. And that's not right at all, man.
Exactly.
And obviously, seeing what you have achieved and stuff like that, man, I'm going to be the first to say you inspired not only this episode, like, bro, you have inspired me in so many ways. Like, I have so many fears in regards to my son, and obviously how this world is, and it scares the crap out of me. I mean, I have a 5-year-old daughter as well, and it scares me that she's about to go into kindergarten next year. So, like, just seeing how these kids are nowadays and how much hate has been approached to these kids, it really involves, the first standpoint is how it is in the household. And the sad thing is, man, when you bring hate in from the household, they're going to go out that door and express it because it's mommy and daddy's doing the same thing. And so I do want to know right now, Kaden, obviously you're in college right now. You are possibly going to be on the dean's list. Once again, congratulations, man. Congratulations on that.
Thank you, sir.
What does the future hold for you? What is something that your prize and goal? Because one thing I can tell from you, you set goals and you don't stop until you hit that goal. What is one thing that is your number one focus? And like you just said, I remember when we first talked on backstage in the inbox and stuff like that, you literally said, I want to focus on autism. I want people to realize what autism is. What is the future hold for your perspective, your research, your whole doing? What is the number one goal that you want in this life when they think of Kadin McElwain?
Well, I'm hoping to eventually do a TED Talk because I think that would get this cause on a national level. Well, TED is that talker series. That's really awesome, where they have a bunch of people give speeches on whatever they like. And eventually, after a successful career in public relations, specifically music and politics, I'm hoping to run for office. I think America needs the first neurodivergent president in U.S. history. It will teach everyone to unite and realize we're all the same.
Yeah, man, I love that, man. So you want to be the very first president with, being on the spectrum and stuff like that, and people realizing, hey, man, he's not so different from me. And seeing the achievements that you have excelled in, man, I don't see that so far away, man. And I would vote for you. I'm not even going to lie to you. I would vote for you just because of just showing your character on this show, man. And it does a lot. And I know a big thing for y'all is being on camera and showing this approach. It speaks a lot of volumes. I use a lot of references when in regards to a gym into life values. I say the biggest thing, the hardest thing to do is to show up. And for you to be in front of this camera, for you to do the approach, show who Kadin McElwain is each and every day. Express what you have gone through, the vulnerability, the toxic standpoint of what kids do to kids nowadays at that time. And you even said it, man, it's the TikTok generation right now. To see the exception that you approached, you put academics first. You put your main focuses first before the fun and stuff like that. That says way more for you, man. And for you to say, hey, I want to be a president of the United States, you got my vote. So when you go and run in office, regardless how long it's going to take you, I will always have a name for a vote for a Kadin McElwain. Regardless what you run for, you won my vote, man. All right, Kaden, is there any last things that you want to let the audience know? Guys, like I said before, check his links below. You help out if you can, man. Let's get this approach. Let's get this. Autism Speaks. Man, autism. Let's get this thing rolling, man. I'm going to start a hashtag. What I do every April, and this is something that I've really made a big focus for me, especially doing this podcast, is I have a thing called Buzzing With Autism. We do it every month. I have a certain shirt made where it's literally symbolizes just that one particular thing. And obviously I've had trouble finding, a legit, like you've said before, people like to fake these things, legit organization regarding with autism. Is there any last words that you want to let the listeners, the viewers know? The floor is yours, my friend.
I would say keep spreading positivity. Thanks for having me, Warren.
No problem, man. Kaden, man, I appreciate you telling us your story. I appreciate the stuff that you have said. Like I said, man, I'm not blowing smoke up your behind, man. You've helped me in, my worries and stuff. Obviously, still gonna have worries. That's based off that's the reality of being a parent. But like you said before, man, stuff that you have gone through, and you still have came out a pretty stand-up guy. Not only that, you became a man. And to see the values and what you have brought, and you remind me a little bit of myself, man, because like literally I always love challenges, because I biggest thing for me was I never run away from things. And for you to keep going and keep being the person that you are, especially in the college level, man, that says a lot, because a lot of people are like, bro, it's college, there's girls, like it's summertime coming, I'm not worried about this. I remember when we first talked, before we even recorded, you sat there and said, I wish school would go on for 24/7. That just shows the true passion and your true character. So Kaden, it was an honor to have you. You are more than welcome to come on anytime you want. You let me know. We will set this up. Guys, like we said before, check the links below. Follow Kaden. If we can, man, let's make a real bright acknowledgement of not only autism, but obviously improving like making a change in this world. This is something that I believe is a main focus a lot of people need to learn. We can't make change unless we make action. And this is something that Kaden is very passionate about. This is something that I've been unacknowledged and trying to get a focus in, because I say it all the time, man. Everyone's different, and that's what makes this world a pretty interesting place. But we can't be divided. We need to stand as one. Kaden, I appreciate you doing this, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, man.
Thanks for having me, Warren.
No problem.